Hare Krishna. So, welcome again to a practical application of Bhagavad Gita, our additional session. So, in our last 5 sessions, we covered these 5 topics of Bhagavad Gita. These are the 5 major topics of Bhagavad Gita. When we say what does Bhagavad Gita has, what is the content of Bhagavad Gita? Actually, this is the 5 major topics of Bhagavad Gita, and these topics are discussed in various chapters. Altogether, there are 18 chapters. But this is the subject matter of all the chapters all put together. So briefly, just to recap and freshen up our memory, first topic was Jivatma, the soul, who we are, and what is his body, what is this death. We talked about that. Then we talked about Paramatma, the super soul, who is God, and what is the relationship between soul and the super soul. And we talked about in the third session, the karma, the action, the law of karma. What is the law of karma and how it acts? What are the result of various actions? And then in the in the final session, finally, we talked about Prakriti, the material nature, and the Kal, the time factor. So these are the 5 major topics of Bhagavad Gita. The 3 of them, Jivatma, Paramatma, and Karma, are very important. Prakriti and Kal also important, but once you understand these 3 first, then to understand Prakriti and Kal, it's very easy to understand. So, we'll take the little recap on the Paramatma. We talked about the Paramatma. Paramatma is the super soul. We are soul, we are Jivatma. The super soul, he is the all-pervading, the consciousness, which is Paramatma. He resides in everyone's heart. He is a witness of whatever we do, our thinking, feeling, willing, whatever happens in our life. He is the witness of all the activities of the soul. And he is a source of knowledge, forgetfulness, and remembrance. So all the living entities, we get all our knowledge, forgetfulness, remembrance from the Paramatma or the super soul. And Paramatma is our best friend and the well-wisher. How come he's the best friend and well-wisher? That Paramatma comes along with us in various species of life that we travel to. The Paramatma never leaves alone. Our parents, our family, once we die, they stay back. Nobody comes with us. But Paramatma, he is always coming with us in any body we travel to, in any condition. He never leaves us. He's always there with us and always waiting. If you ask the help from him, he is happy to help. So Paramatma is our best friend and well-wisher. Then we talked about the 3 aspects of God: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Brahman is the all-pervasive feature of the Lord. Paramatma is the localized form of the Lord. And Bhagavan is the supreme personality of Godhead, the person itself. So we talked about, Brahman is the incomplete realization of the Lord. Paramatma is a partial realization of the Lord, and Bhagavan it is the complete realization of the God. And we gave the analogy of a train. A train which looks from the distance is just a little smoke and a little engine in the front. So that is the Brahman realization, which is incomplete. In the Paramatma, we come a little bit more closer to the train. Then we see that there is the engine, and there are the coaches, and there is a rail, and we get a bit more information than the Brahman. But it is still partial realization. But when we go really close to the train, then we see that there is an engine, there are coaches, there is smoke, but there are people inside. There is a rail company, and there are so many organization goes in maintaining and running the train. So that is the Bhagwan realization, which is the complete realization of the God. And then we talked about the karma, the perfect law. This is the law which is infallible. It never fails. The law of our land, you can get away with it. You can hire a big lawyer or some manipulation of the law. You can get away with the materialistic or the state law. The law of karma never fails. And why it never fails? Because to give the judgment of all our activities, The witness is Paramatma. It is always with us. It is always, whatever we have done, whatever we are thinking, feeling, willing, it is there. So the whatever activities we have done, it always comes back either with a good or a bad result. Then we talked about three types of karma. Karma, which is the prescribed duty or positive action. Karma is that positive action which we are asked to do, which is prescribed. Everybody should do karma. So it is a positive karma. So karma word itself, it means positive karma. We give the analogy of a positive number. If it is number 3, we don't say positive 3. 3 means it is positive. It's a positive number. But it is a negative number, then we say it's -3. So karma itself means the positive action. Everybody is expected to do a positive action in our day-to-day life. And we talked about vikarma. Vikarma is forbidden activity. It is a negative action. The action which brings harm, which brings distress and trouble in the society, or in individually and collectively. These are the action we are not supposed to do. So these are vikarma. One should not do those karma. Vikarma. The problem with both the karma and vikarma is that they are both binding. They are the source of our repeated birth and death. If we do a good karma, we come back again to enjoy the nice positive fruits of the good karma. If we do bad karma or vikarma, we again come back to suffer the results of our activity. So both karma and vikarma, it gives we have to come back again to suffer or enjoy our activities, birth after birth. So it binds us to this material world. Then we talked about akarma. Akarma is a devotional activity which gives liberation. So akarma, it does not generate any good, any positive result, or it does not generate any negative result. It is the action which has got no reaction, which is the devotional activity. And when we engage into akarma, it is the source of our liberation. We do not take birth again when our karmic balance sheet is over. Then we go back home, back to Godhead. Also, Krishna says at the end of Bhagavad-Gita that once we surrender to Krishna, he takes away all our karma, both good and the bad. Then we are free to go back home, back to Godhead. So it gives a liberation. So these are the three types of karma: vikarma, and akarma. The next we talked about Jivatma. So this was the first topic of our discussion. So the first and foremost principle of Bhagavad Gita, the founding principle of Bhagavad Gita, is that we are not this body, we are a spirit soul. Unless we understand this particular founding principle of Bhagavad Gita, we cannot make much progress into the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. This has to be understood and realized that we are not this body, we are a spirit soul. And the spirit soul is indestructible. It is the eternal. Spirit soul never dies. The body dies, but the spirit soul never dies. And we talked about body. Body is a temporary residence for the soul. According to the various desire the soul has, it takes various bodies. Sometimes human, sometimes animals, sometimes plants, sometimes reptiles, birds. So according to the desire the soul is developing, it gets various bodies. But in any case, we are not this body, we are a spirit soul. The soul, it is indestructible, but the body, it is destructible. And then we gave an analogy of a driver riding a motor car. So driver, it's the soul, and the motor car is the body. When the motor car, it is not usable, then the driver goes into another motor car and carries on his journey into the different motor car. And then we talked about the composition of body. We talked about the 5 gross elements and 3 subtle elements. So the 5 gross are earth, water, fire, air, ether. And the subtle body is the mind, intelligence, and false ego. This this makes our material body, the physical body that we see, and then we gave a little picture. So in this picture, uh, the chariot is the body. See, in this see a chariot, there is a passenger, there is a charioteer, there are horses. So the chariot is this whole body. Our whole body is compared like a chariot, and passenger is the soul. The charioteer is the intelligence, the reins are the mind, and the horses are senses. So this when we talked about that, when these horses are uncontrollable and mind has no control over the senses, and intelligence also has no control over the mind, the there's a whole chaos. The chariot goes into every direction, and poor passenger, the soul is suffering in this material body. So when our senses are not in control, we do not know what to do with this body, with this life. When mind is not controlled, then life is completely a mess. We do not have direction in our life. So we, as a resident of this body, the soul, it is completely clueless. And that's why everybody says, we want peace in our life. We want peace in our life. Why peace in our life? Because the chariot of our this body, our residence, it is completely out of control. So this is what we covered in our sessions, past 5 sessions. So practical application, where to start? So it is nice to have nice theory. We understand, who am I, who is God, what is my relationship with God, what activities should I do in this world, so it gives me good result, or what activities I should not do which gives me bad result, and how do I come out of this world, how do I engage into the akarma, so I get liberation, I do not come back into this world again. So it's nice to have theory. Theory is always required before we do a practical. In Britain, for example, driving. Uh, Before driving, you have to have a theory exam. So you should know what are the road signs, what are the speed limits, and what are the rules you have to follow. But then there is a practical. To become a driver, to apply the skill of driving, first you need the theory, but the theory itself will not help you unless you apply that theory into practical. Uh, Another example is that swimming. In the swimming, you can read hundreds and hundreds of books on how to swim, but unless you go into the water and apply those teachings in the water, those reading will not help. So this session is all about how we can practically apply the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. Now I must give you a little warning that it is a human nature. It is nice to sit on a sofa or a chair or in a desk and and discuss the philosophy, or talk about the spiritual principles. But when it comes to practical application, our human nature or our mind is that it always revolves the change. We have a certain lifestyle, we have our own likes and dislikes, and anything we are asked to change or make a little adjustment, then there is an immediate revolt. Uh, so whatever practical applications we are going to discuss now, you have to keep a little open mind. Because if you don't keep an open mind, you won't have enough motivation to apply these practical applications in your own life. So mind will resist with all its might, but do not give in. Uh, Certain things we are going to ask, we want to apply in our life, and mind says, why this? I'm happy in my life. I do not need any change in my life. But don't give in. Uh, these are the very easy practical application we can apply in our life. And you will see what we're going to discuss now is very simple. There is nothing much effort required, just a desire to apply in our life. Only that much is required. But our mind, it always resists changes. So I warn you, but that you please control your mind. Ask your mind that be peaceful. These things are good for me. Okay, so let's start practical application. So in Bhagavad Gita, what are the concluding instructions of Krishna? Let's see what Krishna is saying. So there are 18 chapters in Bhagavad Gita, and in the last concluding shlokas of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna actually tells what to do in your life, how to live our life. Uh, so Krishna says in shloka 65 of of chapter 18, he says, "Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend." This is what Krishna is telling to Arjuna. Because Arjuna is Krishna's friend. And we also aspiring, devotee of Krishna, we also have a relationship with Krishna. So basically Krishna is telling us that I promise you that you will come back to me if you apply these principles, this practical application in your life. So what is he saying? You think of me, if we think of Krishna, we become devotee of Krishna. We worship Krishna and we offer our homage to Krishna. If we do that, then Krishna says, I promise you, you will come to me. Krishna says, I promise you. This is a legally binding, word from Krishna. He says, I promise you, if you do this, you will come back to me. And then he gives, very bold instruction, in this sloka 66 of Bhagavad Gita. He says, abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender to me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. So Krishna says, you might have so many fears, if I change my lifestyle, if I don't do this, if I don't this, what will happen to me? We have fear, we have fear of change. Whatever, I have accumulated so much, my life, and with this application of Bhagavad Gita, will I lose that? Will I, all my effort in my life, will it just go away? Krishna says, don't worry. I'll look after all your worries. So this is Krishna's promise. So first he says, you become my devotee, think about me, worship me, and this I promise you, if you do that, you will come back to me. And then Krishna says, just surrender to me and don't think too much. Just surrender to me, and I'll look after all your worries. Do not fear. This word do not fear, I put it into this green. That is very important word. Do not fear, because we have fear of change. So Krishna says, don't worry, I'll look after everything about your worries. Now this is the most important. How? Krishna says, worship me, think about me, and surrender to me. The normal layman like will say, how? What is the practical thing I can do? How can I think about Krishna? How can I serve Krishna? How can I surrender to Krishna? So this is a big how question. So Krishna, he is very merciful. He knew that we'll have this question, how? How to apply these teachings of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita, 18 chapters. But at the end, we'll have the questions. How Krishna? How we apply these principles in our practical life? So Krishna, he appears again as Lord Chaitanya. He came about 500 years back in West Bengal. And he came specially to answer our questions of how we can apply the teachings of Bhagavad Gita in our life. So Lord Chaitanya, he is Krishna himself. He is none other than Krishna. But he is in the mood of his own devotee. He is not coming as a god. Of course, he is God, but he is not showing, or not acting like a god. He is acting like his own devotee. Just to show with his example that how as a devotee you can surrender, how you can worship Krishna, how you can remember Krishna. So he comes to give his live example. Just like a father or a coach, or a teacher. to teach his students. The teacher, he comes, he says, as if I don't know any acts like this, like in swimming. The teacher will swim in the senses. This is how you do it. So the Lord comes himself. Because Krishna is so merciful. He doesn't come as a god again. He comes as a devotee, just to show the practical example. So he's teaching by his example how to apply the principles of Bhagavad Gita. Live example, and the whole pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. It is recorded, and there are so many books. Uh, so we can take the lessons from Lord Chaitanya's lifetime. And why, we might ask why I should accept the Lord Chaitanya as incarnation of God. We do not accept anybody's incarnation of God unless there are three proof. Then these three proof are incarnation confirmed by Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. There are four Vaishnava Sampradayas, and the disciplic successions of the Gurus, they come generation after generation in a disciplic succession. And all these four Sampradayas, they have confirmed Lord Chaitanya as incarnation of God. And the Sadhu, and each Sampradaya in both all four Sampradayas, they have confirmed that Lord Chaitanya is the incarnation of the Lord. And top of that, the incarnation must be mentioned in the scriptures. So in various scriptures, Vedic scriptures, the Lord Chaitanya's incarnation, it is mentioned there. It was foretold in Srimad Bhagavatam, in various Upanishads and Puranas. It is mentioned about Lord Chaitanya that he will come in the beginning of Kali Yuga as his own devotee, and he will inaugurate the movement of Sankirtan. Sankirtan Yajna he will inaugurate. So we take our lessons from Lord Chaitanya on how to apply principles of Bhagavad Gita. Now we might ask questions that actually we are becoming very esoteric. Can we simplify it a little bit more? So the reason we are going step by step, yes, Krishna is telling how to surrender to Krishna, and then what is authority, how we surrender to Krishna. So we take the teachings of Lord Chaitanya of how to surrender. So let's go one more simplification of ABCD of practical application. Whatever Lord Chaitanya has instructed us, we have put in our day-to-day understanding. So there is A, B, C, and D of practical application. Now A, B, C, D, any man in this world knows these four alphabets, A, B, C, D. And you can easily remember in your life. You can never forget this. Now the A in the ABCD refers to association. In Sanskrit word, sadhu sangha. That one, if he is serious to apply the principles of Bhagavad Gita, he should cultivate the association of a devotee. He should, like what we are doing right now. We've been last 6 sessions, we are coming together. We are associating with each other. And what we are discussing Bhagavad Gita. We are discussing a spiritual topic. So we have to cultivate the friendship with those people who are serious about applying the teachings of Bhagavad Gita in their life. It is called sadhu sangha. These are association is at 3 level. The sadhus, the advanced devotees, those who are already advanced than you approach them and try to learn from them and take the higher instructions. Then we have the equal associations, our own friends, on all which are of equal level. We make friendship with them, and then we also associate and help those who are junior to us in spiritual understanding. But in any case, we have this association. We always try to look for the opportunity to associate with those people who are interested in teachings of Bhagavad Gita, who are actually applying the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. The association is more important. Even if you are struggling with B, C, and D, doesn't matter. As long as your association is strong, you are regularly attending a program, where Bhagavad Gita is discussed, if you are regularly going to a temple and hearing about Bhagavad Gita, like soon, we'll have our temple in Stoke-on-Trent. Uh, this temple has got only one purpose: to allow the facility for the people to come together and talk about Krishna, hear about Bhagavad Gita, and help each other in applying these teachings of Bhagavad Gita. This is the only purpose of this place. There is no other purpose. Education and application. So the association of the sadhu or the Vaishnava is very important. The practical application starts with the association. So your first practical application of Bhagavad Gita is that you should very actively, very seriously, sincerely look for the association. Try to go into these gatherings where Bhagavad Gita is discussed. Uh, have a friendship, cultivate friendship with those who are interested in Bhagavad Gita. If you have this association, actually in our Shastra it is described, the association is like an umbilical cord, which always, like in a mother, a small child in the womb, it is the child gets all the nourishment from the mother through the umbilical cord. So the association will always keep us alive. The moment we are disconnected from the sadhus or the Vaishnava association, our inspiration, our motivation will die in applying the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. The moment you have no association, that motivation will be gone. So first and foremost is that you look for the association of the devotees. Look for the association, those who are serious in applying the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. And the next is B. B for books, or Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam. These are the scriptures, Vedic scriptures. We should have the books always with us. First, we cultivate the association with the devotees, and then we very diligently, read Bhagavad Gita in our own spare time with a very, inquisitive and very serious intention. And we read Bhagavad Gita. It is all about whether we want to apply these principles or not. So if you can always have association, we always regularly read Bhagavad Gita, and the next, once you finish Bhagavad Gita, we can read Bhagavatam, which is the advanced teachings of Bhagavad Gita, and then Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. These are the three main books, but these books should be always be part of our life. So association is, we can do regularly. It may not be available 7 days a week, but the books, it should be always with us. Actually, it is said that every serious person who wants to apply the principles of Bhagavad Gita, he should read at least 10 minutes of Bhagavad Gita every day without fail. So this is the first practical application of Bhagavad Gita. First, have association, A, and B is Bhagavad Gita, books. Always read Bhagavad Gita very serious, like a daily routine. One should always read Bhagavad Gita. Those who do not have Bhagavad Gita, we are happy to provide you one copy. You can have a free copy, but if you want to donate, printing cost, you are most welcome to contribute towards that. But please have Bhagavad Gita. You should always, it is said, in the house, wherever our sofa or sitting place is there, the book should be just 2 feet away. So as soon as we get some time, we get Bhagavad Gita and start reading Bhagavad Gita immediately. So A for association, B for books. And now this is still, little very easy steps. Anybody can associate. Association is free. You don't have to do any, investment. Books also is almost free. You don't have to worry. You ask me, I'll give you one copy, or see, it is free. And now next, we'll go a little higher. C. C is for chanting. Chanting of Krishna's name. And the next is diet. The food habits that we have in our life. So we'll talk, so I think A and B, it is very easy to understand for us, easy to apply. But C and D, it because it is changing or interfering with our regular lifestyle. So, again, as I said, you have to keep open mind. Don't resist to this application. So we will go a little deeper into chanting and diet. Because chanting, generally we are told, this is something we have to do when we are old, when you have nothing to do. Uh, but this is not the case. Chanting is one of the most important aspect of devotional life. Uh, so let's talk about chanting. So what does Krishna say about chanting in Bhagavad Gita? Let's see. Rather than my view or anybody's view, let's see what Krishna says about chanting. So in Sloka 9 of chapter 3, Krishna, he says, work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way, you will always remain free from bondage. So remember, we talked about akarma, that activities which does not generate any reaction. So Krishna says that can be done by the mode of sacrifice to Vishnu. If sacrifice to Vishnu is performed, then it does not generate any reaction. Then the next sloka, sloka 16, he says, my dear Arjun, one who does not follow in human life the cycle of sacrifice thus established by the Vedas certainly leads a life full of sin. Living only for the satisfaction of the senses, such a person lives in vain. So Krishna says one should perform sacrifices in his life. If he's not performing sacrifices, he is just incurring sin in his life, and that is it's a very great waste of our human energy. So basically, in these two shloka, Krishna is recommending sacrifice. So what is the best sacrifice? So Krishna himself, he mentions about what is the best sacrifice in Bhagavad Gita. So in chapter 10, shloka 25, Krishna says, of the great sages, I am Bhrigu. Of vibrations, I am the transcendental Om. Of sacrifices, I am the chanting of the holy names, which is Japa. And of immovable things, I am the Himalayas. So Krishna earlier said that one should live a life of sacrifice. And then he says in chapter 10, what is the best sacrifice? He says, of the sacrifice, I am the chanting of the holy names. So chanting of the Krishna's name or the holy name, it is none other than doing a great sacrifice, a great activity, which does not incur any reactions. It does not stop there, it goes even much higher. So now let's understand. No, we have one more shloka. So Krishna says, then he gives the example, which are the people who are applying this chanting in their life. So he says, always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me, these great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. So Krishna is saying that those who are my devotees, they are always chanting my glories. So we can conclude with this shloka that if somebody wants to practically apply teachings of Bhagavad Gita, one has to perform sacrifice, and in this age of Kali, that sacrifice is in the form of a chanting, chanting Krishna's name. Now, what is this chanting? Let's understand the chanting in a more detailed way. So, chanting has got two immediate effects, and chanting mantra. So, chanting involves chanting a mantra. Mantra means it has got two words, man, tra. Mana means mind and tra to control. So mantra means controlling the mind. So chanting involves mantra, and mantra means to control the mind. And not all mantra are same. Just like a medicine, not every medicine has got same effect. If you have indigestion, there is a particular medicine. If you have a headache, there is a particular medicine. Uh, if you go to a medical shop or a pharmacy, and the you have to tell the pharmacist what disease you have, and accordingly he'll give the medicine. And each medicine has a different effect. So not all mantras have same effect. Every mantra has different effect. Hmm. So just like a different medicine for different disease. So we have to see which mantra I should be chanting. Hmm. So in as per the scriptures, it is mentioned the Hare Krishna Maha mantra for Kali Yuga. It is from the Kali Santarna Upanishad. So Hare Krishna Maha mantra, it is prescribed in a Kali Santarna Upanishad, specially for this Kali Yuga. In various other yugas, Satya Yuga, you remember in the last session of time, there are various yugas are there, Satya, Treta, Dwapar, Kali Yuga, and these are kind of different seasons. In different seasons, we wear different clothes. Similarly, in different ages, there is a different mantra recommended or different process recommended for getting the liberation or getting out of this cycle of birth and death. So for Kali Yuga, this Hare Krishna Mahamantra is prescribed. So in this Kali Yuga, no other mantra other than Mahamantra, which is the most effective in this Kali Yuga. There are many other mantras are there, and they are definitely powerful mantras are there. It has their own power. But according to disease, we take particular medicine. So for the disease of Kali Yuga, the medicine is Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So those who are from the medical background, probably you can understand it more precisely and clearly. So Mahamantra, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it is the prescribed medicine for Kali Yuga. So as we take medicine, immediately medicine starts working. So as soon as we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it has got two effects. And first is that it clears dirt from our mind. It gives, all these various contamination of lust, anger, greed, pride, envy, illusion. These six anarthas, they get cleared from our mind. Our mind becomes pacified. As we said, mantra means controlling the mind. When you chant this mantra, our mind gets pacified. It clears the dirt from our mind. And the second is that it gives a relief from material pangs. It brings the peace in our life. When our mind is, peaceful, and then we are, chanting and nicely, it gives the relief from material pangs of so many mental, physical, so many troubles that we are in our life. The first thing with the mantra, we control our mind, and it just calms down, but because it is clearing the dirt. For those who are in medical faculty, you will know the disease. If you have to cure the disease, first you have to remove the contaminations from the body. As soon as the contaminations are removed from the body feels relief. The body feels enjoys slowly and eventually enjoys the good health. So the mantra, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it clears the mind of the dirt, and it gives the relief from the pain of this world. And this is just the beginning. And it starts with, it brings the joy and, and the knowledge and so many things in our life. But this is the two immediate effect which happens in our life. When we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it clears the dirt from our mind and gives relief from material pangs. So now we come to the exact practical application of Bhagavad-Gita. Krishna says, of all the sacrifices I am the chanting, and one should one should live a life of sacrifice. Otherwise, we have the any activity we do, it is just generate sin. So we have, as what Krishna has prescribed, we are trying to follow his instruction. So this is because it's an online class, we will try as much as possible to give practical demonstration. So chanting has to be done very scientifically. Chanting is a you can say like in operation or medical operation or a grammatical nice poetry. It is a science. Science has certain rules and regulation. So I'm going to go little practical application on how to chant. So here you see the one should chant the Lord's name in a regulation. So it is said that one should do chant the Lord's name in a mala, on a japa mala, which is this. If you can see now, this is japa mala. In this japa mala, there are 108 strings, 108 beats are there, and each beat it is for counting the name of the Lord. So on the screen you can see this is the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So we have to chant this mantra in regulations. So we have to chant one round, and in one round there are 108 names that we have to chant. Uh, so uh, so in this beat, if you can hold it like this, which is the second finger and a thumb, and our first finger should not touch the beat, because again it's a yogic process that this first finger is a presentation of the ego. So we want to chant without our ego, without any contamination. So we hold it with the second finger and the thumb. So we hold it, the first beat is this is called Krishna Mani, and then is the first beat next to it, and we hold it with our thumb and a second finger, and very easy. There is not a rocket science. Then you simply chant this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. You can chant along with me now. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. You can go on to the next beat. Again chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And like this, you can chant all the way through till your last beat. And this way, you chanted 108 times the holy name or the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Some people might have a question: why 108 number? What is the significance of 108? So various reasons are there. One of the reason is that Krishna, had 108 gopis, primary gopis, which are very dear to Krishna. So each bead on the Japamala, it represents one of that gopi. And we are taking the shelter of that gopi's lotus feet in chanting Krishna's name. So once we chant 108 times, now if you would have come to the last beat. So if you are chanting another round, then you turn around. So your last beat becomes the first beat. And this way you chant again. So your last beat becomes the first beat, and again chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Similarly, you can go all the way through. Again, you will come to the last beat, or the earlier your first beat it was. Again, you want to chant another third round. Again, you turn around, so your last beat becomes the first beat. So question arises, why we are turning it around this mala? So this mala, actually, this money represents Krishna, and these are the gopis. So we are taking shelter of gopis in chanting Krishna's name, and when we come to Krishna, we don't jump over Krishna. It is a basic etiquette that one should not jump over one's body. It is when somebody is on the way, either we pass by or we ask them to, give us the way. So when we reach Krishna, we don't jump over Krishna. So rather we turn around, then we go all the way and then chant our rounds again. So this is the scientific way of chanting Krishna on a Japamala. As I said, the Bhagavad-Gita is a scientific, practical uh, scripture. It has got theory, but the theory has got practical application. So even chanting of Krishna's name, it is a way, there is a method, there is a process how to chant. So as we said in this, you can see in this picture, we chant with the second finger and a thumb. We chant on a japamala, and we chant 108 times in a round. And how do we chant? Um, Holding this japamala. So there are simple rules and regulations. There is a regulation, just like in medical. Uh, like we have a blood pressure, so particular reading is ideal blood pressure. If it goes above and down, then there's a problem. Similarly, like for the heart, there's ideal heartbeats the heart should be beating. So if everything is under regulation, then we can measure and then we can, nicely perform our activity. So similarly, chanting, it's a very nice scientifically developed process of sacrifice. So there's a number 108, how to chant, what is the process, and then also you can see in the picture that there are bead bags. So I can see I've got my bead bag here, because this japamala is quite long, and it is a nice gesture of respect that we should not touch this japamala on the floor, because floor is always dirty. So to protect our japamala, which is very sacred to our spiritual practice, we keep the japamala into the bed bag, so it doesn't touch the floor, or it gets protected from the dirt of the floor. So you can see in this two picture, the devotee, or you must have seen many devotees holding japamala in their bag. So this is the uh, first practical application of Bhagavad Gita. Practically association and books is the beginning, but this is the practical, how practically you can apply the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. Again, I repeat, Krishna said one should do sacrifice. If one should not do sacrifice, it generates the sin. And what is the best sacrifice? Best sacrifice is to chant the name of Krishna. And how do we chant the name of Krishna? We have just given the example or demonstration of how to chant Krishna. Okay, so this is come to the C. C is chanting. Now we come to the last practical application, diet. Diet is also a sacrifice, and in a Vedic scripture, our eating, we should be eating prasadam only. So what is this prasad? So let's talk about diet. So eating, it is an activity everybody does quite a few times in a day. We might not be associating, we might not be reading books, or we might not be even chanting, these three A, B, and C, we might not be doing regularly. But this diet, eating, we all do regularly. We cannot say I can skip my feed. Everybody wants to eat, on a regular basis, every day. So this is one activity which we do it anyway. But Krishna, he is now very nicely is recommending that if we can do in a mode of devotion, then this act of eating or dieting, it becomes a devotional service. So how to make our eating habit or our action of eating a bhakti or a devotional practice, or a practical application of Bhagavad Gita? So Krishna recommends that, actually, not Krishna, but actually from our devotees, that we should not be, okay, there are a few slides I might have to skip, but maybe I won't skip now. So let's see what Krishna talks about the eating habit. So what Krishna says in chapter 3, shloka 30, he says, the devotees of the Lord are released from all kinds of sins because they eat food which is offered first for sacrifice. Others who prepared for personal sense enjoyment verily eat only sin. So Krishna says that one should eat the food which is first offered to Krishna. In other words, first offered in sacrifice. Remember earlier we talked about sacrifice. So first sacrifice is chanting. Now we're talking the second sacrifice, which is the offering food to Krishna. And here is Krishna says, if you just offer the food without offering to Krishna, it is a sin. He quite clearly says, that it is a sin. If you eat the food without offering to Krishna, it's a sin. Or we call it akarma. Sorry, vikarma. The food, the action we generate is the bad result, negative result. Then in chapter 9, shloka 26, it says, if one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, I will accept it. So Krishna first said that one should eat only food which is first offered in sacrifice to me. And now he's saying what he can offer it to me. So he says, one offers me with love and devotion. He is not giving the list of things which he likes to eat. He first of all gives that if somebody offers me with love and devotion, so love and devotion is the most important thing Krishna wants. And then second, you can say you can offer me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or a water. I will accept it. So Krishna says, if you offer me with these ingredients with love and devotion, Krishna says, I will accept it. Krishna is categorically saying, I will accept it if you offer it to me. And then last, he says in next shloka 27, he says, whatever you do, whatever you eat. Krishna clearly says, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, and whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me. So in these three shloka, we understand that Krishna, he says it is very dangerous to eat food which is not first offered to him, first as sacrifice, then it just generates sin. Second, he says, how you can offer it to me, what ingredients you can offer it to me, and the most important ingredient is love and devotion. And third, again he reconfirms, said whatever you eat, you should do as an offering to me. So Krishna, he expects the students of Bhagavad-Gita to follow a particular diet. If you follow that particular diet, then we are very much there, eligible to receive Krishna's mercy and shelter and the progress in our spiritual life. So these are the three shlokas from Bhagavad-Gita, a practical application mentioned right in the pages of Bhagavad-Gita. So let's just summarize. A diet is prasad. Prasadam is nothing but the food offered to Krishna first. When the food is offered to Krishna, it becomes prasad, or the sanctified food. So the prasad is not vegetarian, it is Krishnatarian. This is a new word you can learn today, Krishnatarian. So it is not just vegetarian food, it is a Krishnatarian food. Why Krishnatarian food? Because it is offered it to Krishna. So vegetarian food is just vegetarian food, but it is more than vegetarian food. It is a vegetarian food, then it is offered to Krishna. So it becomes Krishnatarian. So a devotee should only eat Krishnatarian food, prasad. The most important ingredient in the prasad is love and devotion. I was just hearing a class today by Srila Prabhupada. He said, offering food to Krishna is so easy. Anybody can do it. A leaf, a flower, a water, or a milk. Water is available everywhere. Anybody, even a poor man, he has little water. You can offer it to Krishna. But when you offer it, the most important ingredient is it is not the how opulent the food is or what brand of food you are offering. Either from John Lewis or Tesco or from a farm shop. Krishna is not talking about that. He says you offer me with love and devotion. Now, the most important thing in offering the food to Krishna is it should be offered with love and devotion. And then what we heard from the shloka, Krishna says when we eat the food or the Krishna prasad, It is guaranteed change in consciousness. Our consciousness is so disturbed, so muddled, so unclear. But when we eat Krishna Prasad, the food offered to Krishna first, and we eat, guaranteed to change. It will bring guaranteed. It will bring the change in our consciousness. Now, why am I pressing so much stress on guaranteed to change in consciousness? Because I am the example of that change. Uh, when I first started, associating with the devotees and getting interested in spiritual life, I was not getting anywhere. I had no clue what is this Bhagavad-Gita, and all these principles are there. I was a very average, South Mumbai grown boy, had so many aspirations into glamour world and, in fashion world. And I had my own life, which is completely contrary to principles of Bhagavad Gita. But I started eating the Krishna Prasad. Started going to the temple association. I tried to read the Bhagavad Gita, as much as possible, and I chanted, as much as I could. Uh, but the real difference, which really, brought a tremendous change in my life, was through the prasad, food which is offered to Krishna first, and then you eat it. And it brought so much clarity and peace, and in change in my consciousness. So I can safely say, it is a tried and tested on me. I'm sure, if you meet any other devotee, they'll give you the same reference. Once you eat Krishna Prasad, it brings the change in your consciousness, a positive change. It definitely changes the consciousness. And it's a very simple sacrifice. Other sacrifices, like, you have to have a fire, fire sacrifice requires some panditji, and a proper purified place, so much rules and regulation. But the offering food to Krishna, it is so simple. We cook food in our every day in our kitchen. Uh, you are doing it anyway. Why don't we just cook for Krishna? Just change a little bit of ingredients. Just cook vegetarian food, uh, and offer it with love and devotion to Krishna, and Krishna will accept it. And then you eat that food. So there is a small adjustment in our lifestyle. As I said earlier, our mind always resists when there is a change is requested. But take little endeavor. We can start some very small uh, gesture of offering our food to Krishna. So it's a very simple sacrifice. So my next slide is about the demonstration of food offering. uh, because it's online, I cannot give, but if you ever want, demonstration on how to do offer, I'm happy to come to your house, or you can come to my house, and I can give the offering, how practical it is done. But just for online instructions, the prasadam requires two aspects: cooking and then offering. So while cooking, it should be vegetarian ingredients, and do not use onion and garlic. Do not taste before offering. So when you're cooking, one should not taste it. So we test it because we want to make sure, the taste is fine. Don't worry, for Krishna Prasad, you don't have to, because Krishna said he is not interested in the taste or the ingredient, he's interested in love and devotion. Uh, so if we taste before offering to Krishna, it is not suitable for Krishna's offering. So one should not taste food before offering. Don't worry about, less salt, less chili powder, more. Don't worry about that. Whatever best your, intelligence, your heart says, you prepare it accordingly. Hmm. I'll tell you my personal example. When I was bachelor and, working on my own, and I used to started offering food to Krishna. Before that, I never cooked in my life. In my house, my mother would cook and I'll offer it, and she was expert cook, so it always everything came very nicely. But when I started living alone, I never cooked, and then I started offering food to Krishna, and I would just, with my own, whatever little cooking skill I had, every time I was fearful that today something will go wrong, something will not be right. But not a single day, not a single day I had to ever, adjust the taste of my food, either a salt or my pepper or a chili. Not never, you know. It is really a miracle that a very, unqualified cook like me, can cook the exact tasting prasad. It's because we are doing for the pleasure of Krishna with love and devotion, everything comes out absolutely right, because we are doing for the pleasure of Krishna. So do not taste before offering food to Krishna, and cook with loving mood. Again, this is the uh, basic ingredient. Uh, the the love is the most important ingredient. When we cook with love for Krishna, that this food I am cooking, it is for the pleasure of Krishna. Let me cook with, my love and devotion. Then the whole, your cooking experience will become bhakti. So sometimes it also said, Hare Krishna or ISKCON is a kitchen religion. Because many of our devotees, they spend more time in the kitchen than in the temple. Because all this nice offering to Krishna, it is cooked in the kitchen, then offered it to Krishna. So we should cook our offering with love and devotion. And then whatever is cooked, we offer it to Krishna. So how the offering is done? We should have a nice separate plate for Krishna. Like, in our house, our children has, their own special mug or that plate. So Krishna should have his own separate plate, or plate or spoon, plate and spoon and different utensils. It should be separately made for Krishna. You can buy it for Krishna, and should be used exclusively for Krishna's offering. Nobody should eat from that plate. So, whatever you cooked, nicely, put it into the plate of Krishna, and then you put a tulsi leaf on whatever you have cooked. Now, you may not have tulsi leaf in this country. So, if you go to India, you can bring some dry tulsi leaf, or if you have tulsi plant here, you can bring the tulsi leaf. But even if you don't have a tulsi leaf, don't worry. You can just pray to Krishna. Krishna, I do not have tulsi leaf, but in your mind, it says that I'm offering that tulsi leaf in my mind to you. Then Krishna accepts that. So you put the tulsi leaf on the items that you're offering it to Krishna, and you give, and then take this plate to in front of Krishna's picture or a deity, and then you do a little prayer. Prayer is nothing but a loving request, and there are certain prayers you should chant. But even if you don't know any prayers, Krishna is not interested in the mantras or shlokas that you have to chant. As Krishna said, you offer me with love and devotion. So you take this plate to Krishna and tell Krishna, with a very prayerful mood, that Krishna, I know I'm a very unqualified cook. Uh, I have my own shortcomings and my bad qualities. But for your pleasure, I've tried to cook something for your pleasure. So this is for your pleasure. You please accept it. So very prayerful mood, with a very humble heart, you ask Krishna to accept it. Then you can, close your eyes and three times, chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And if you have a small bell, you can ring the bell while doing these prayers. And if you don't have bells, no problem at all. As Krishna said, love and devotion. With love and devotion we offer it. Krishna says, I accept it. So then this is how you do the offering to Krishna. So now next we have this small, very example, whatever we have talked today. This is the example of how the offering is done. You can see this devotee, this is a small altar, where Krishna's picture is there, Varnita is there, and look at his plate. A small, nice matar paneer, rice and some dry fruit and a little fruit. Uh, Krishna is not asking, as we said, he is not asking for chappan bhog, or a very opulent offering. Whatever best you can cook, you can offer it to Krishna. And it's a very simple altar. There is not a something grand arrangement. So Krishna, as you said, is interested in love and devotion. So he accepts this. And in temples, in the big centers of Hare Krishna center and Hare Krishna temples, sometimes we make a very huge offering to Krishna, and this is one of that huge offering. There are hundreds and thousands of offerings are there for the pleasure of Krishna. Uh, so this is for the temple standard, or if any of you would ever like to offer Krishna this much, most welcome. But you can see, hundreds and thousands of things are offered to Krishna for his pleasure. So we can offer it very simply, or we can offer, wonderful, grand arrangement offering. And then, Krishna said, if you offer him with love and devotion, I accept it without fail. So this is this nice picture of Krishna and his friends. They are taking prasadam in Vrindavan. Here you see everybody is offering food to Krishna. And everybody has this one desire, oh, maybe, today my mother has given me this nice laddu. Oh, this laddu is very nice. Let me offer it to Krishna. Oh, this burfi is very nice. Let me offer it to Krishna. So this is actually that Vrindavan mood or the devotee mood, where whatever we have, we want to first offer it to Krishna for his pleasure. And then, when Krishna is satisfied, then you accept it. So when we offer our food to Krishna, before the offering, that is just a food, or in Sanskrit it is called bhoga. But once it is offered to Krishna, it becomes prasad. So before it is bhoga, and after offering it becomes prasad. Prasadam is the sanctified food. This food is no longer a materialistic food. Now this food is accepted by Krishna, and Krishna has tested it. Now one may ask questions. Does Krishna always eat whatever I eat, whatever I offer? Yes, he always eats. Provided you offered it with love and devotion. If offered with love and devotion, Krishna definitely eats. And how he eats, his eating is little different than us. We eat through our mouth and tongue. Krishna eats through his eyes. So when we put our offering in front of Krishna, Krishna glances on that food offering, and he eats that food through his eyes, and it becomes completely purified. And then when you take the offering plate back, then you whatever you offered it, you can mix it with all the other ingredients, all the main in the main cooking pot, and then clean Krishna's plate, and wipe it and keep it separately. And now you can honor that food, honor that prasadam, with you or with your family members. And this way, it becomes a nice, sacrifice or devotion to Krishna. So, just to conclude, practical application. We talked about A, B, C, and D association. That is A, books, which is B, and the last two are chant Krishna's name and eat Krishna prasadam. So first A and B, it is still little theoretical. There is not much endeavor is required, but chanting and diet or eating prasadam, there is some adjustment in lifestyle is required. But I'm sure you agree with me. This little practical application we mentioned A, B, and C and D, it doesn't require much change in our lifestyle. It gives a very simple, very practical, very easy way to start applying the principles of Bhagavad-Gita. Associate with the Krishna's devotees. Sadhu Sangha. Books, read Krishna Bhagavad, regularly eat Bhagavad-Gita and Bhagavatam. And chant Krishna's name regularly. On Japamala, again, if you do not have Japamala, I'm happy to provide you on Japamala and bead bag. But one should chant every day. And you said chanting, it purifies the heart, and it gives the misery. It gives the relief from all our miseries. And the last is diet. Eat the Krishna prasadam. If you follow this A, B, C, and D, my dear friends, I guarantee you, your life will be so positively changed. It will bring a revolutionary uh, celebration in your life. Your life will never be same again. Every day, every moment will be celebrations. It will not be a materialistic grind that we have to do every day. Every day will be a joy. Every day will be a festival. If you follow this A, B, C, and D. So this is the end of our practical application talk today.